type of gamer who despises dark and unoriginal games and prefer creative, original, and well-crafted games that doesn't seem to have too much attention like platformers. On the other hand, when it comes to unoriginal games that deserve my attention, I seek for games that has some kind of appeal for me. Hollywood-style badassery, never-seen-before action, and especially comedy. If it doesn't have neither one of those, or tries to be too epic like every other game nowadays, then it's definitely not the game I'm looking for. In fact, it's really hard to find that in shooters nowadays because they lack character, originality, and class, and rather try too hard to be epic. One shooter that has the same appeal to other forgotten video games like Gex is none other than Duke Nukem 3D. I never said this to other video games other than Killer Instinct, but hell fucking yeah! If you rate a game on how much a game can kick ass, then Duke Nukem 3D should be one of your favorite games of all time. This game is the full package. Mindless action with tons of excitement, badassery, tons of laughs, filled with in-your-face attitude. Oh my god, just thinking about this game gets me so excited to blow shit up and look at titties. Only pixelated. Anyway, the story begins with... Does this game have a story? Well, who the hell cares? It doesn't need to make sense to be fun. Anyway, Duke Nukem 3D is a first-person shooter released in 1996 for the PC. It was a dramatic step to 3D since the series before this game were 2D platformers. As you can see, Duke Nukem 3D plays more or less like Doom. In fact, before Quake was released, back in the 90s, almost every first-person shooter plays like Doom. You know, moving objects and characters popping out of 2D and moving into the 3D world. Games back then were considered 3D because you could move around 360 degrees around and be able to get closer and further away to anything you see. It worked back then, and it's still playable today. Like all FPS, your object of the game is to shoot or attack enemies or other targets who are keeping you from reaching your destination. In order to hurt them, you need to see your enemy and make sure the target in front of you is pointing at them in order to shoot out bullets or throw objects right in that direction, depending on what weapon you're carrying. Most gamers nowadays would say that these games are outdated, but to me, they haven't aged one bit because other shooters with better graphics for its time will definitely age fast. But with the 2D imagery, you can already see anything that doesn't offend the eye. But that's the reason why I like shooters like Doom, because they're not forced to be realistic. It's all about being fast-paced and action-packed. And Duke Nukem 3D is one of them. Let's talk about the weapons since they are the biggest part of every shooter game. Yeah, well, you do have your boring pistol, but later you get even more weapons as you collect more powerful guns along the way, like the shotgun, chain gun, rocket-propelled grenade launcher, pipe bombs, freeze rays, shrink rays, and a rapid-fire rocket launcher, one for each hand, called the Devastator. Holy shit, this weapon is brutal. What's so funny about this game is that your melee attacks is kicking. Wow, Duke Nukem can stand on one foot while holding a weapon. What makes Duke Nukem 3D a very interesting FPS is the design. It's a pretty non-linear adventure with tons of levels to complete. It's pretty funny that each place or setting Duke is in doesn't explain why he's there or how he even got there. For example, the first couple of levels, he's in a city where he can go to the movie theater and more. And later on, you're in a spaceship, underwater, a fiery place that I think is hell, snowy location, and even a boss fight in a football field. And with each and every one of those levels in that game, has an epic soundtrack, which is lacking in today's shooter games. Nobody should ever forget about the Grab Bag theme song, which you're listening to right now, and later on Megadeth made their own cover of the track. Even though not all the tracks in this game are heavy metal, all the tracks in the game create a mood and atmosphere in each level. Also, you can see the designs made in this game. If you look very closely, you can see plenty of drug, sex, and pop culture references on posters and signs, and even items such as steroids and potion. Each level that you end up changes the environment quite a bit. The environment is quite interactive as explosions do make opening passageways and plenty of moving objects can hurt you. Also, you can end up with an interactive object, play pool, give money to strippers to see their pixelated boobies, use the toilet, and I can go on and on about all the stuff that you can do, but why ruin the surprise? There are also a great number of puzzles to solve. Back in the 90s, shooters like Doom had a lot of doors to unlock and passageways to make, which keeps it from being too easy for one-way levels. The way 3D Realms designed these puzzles are quite surprising, as you don't know how the passageway would open, like for this part when the buildings were demolished into platforms. This could frustrate the player because he or she would not know where the location of the key is, how to get past through a certain obstacle, but it keeps the game from being linear and focus more on exploration, as you'll be surprised on where you're going to end up. There are plenty of secrets in Duke Nukem 3D, as they have access to a new weapon. Which, by the way, before games like GoldenEye, shooters didn't innovate picking up weapons from murdered enemies. The only way you can pick up a new weapon is to find the location of the weapon. Most likely, they'll be in secret areas. The only rewarding thing from killing an enemy with these shooters is to collect ammo from whatever weapon they are wielding by walking past through them. The game features a wide range of monsters, some of which are aliens, mutated pigs, lizards, and more. These enemies have an access to a wide range of weapons and equipment. Back in talking about secrets, one of the biggest reasons why exploring for secrets is worth a damn is to find hoes who will be flashing their titties at you. Oh my god, I'm in heaven! Woohoo! Oh yeah, the review. Speaking of which, since Duke Nukem 3D is heavily for adults, the game was ported to other systems which were heavily altered due to censorship and how the controls were very different from the mouse and keyboards. The first port that I ever played this game was Duke Nukem 64 for the Nintendo 64, which was very different from the PC and other consoles. What I like about the N64 port is that it has a split-screen co-op, which me and my friends played for hours. The N64 version is very different because they remove the music, the hoes, the references, and so much more. And still to this day, they're still making so many ports of Duke Nukem 3D, and the latest re-release of the game was on the Xbox Live Arcade. But the best port in my opinion is the PC. Not because of the mouse and keyboards, it's because you can update the graphics with a high resolution pack, giving Duke Nukem, all of his enemies, and every interactive 2D object into real 3D. All you have to do is own the game, download the HRP at the link below for free. It really does look totally different, and if you think Duke Nukem 3D doesn't age well, download the HRP. But what sets off Duke Nukem 3D from all the other shooters is the main character, because he is the most original video game character in the whole genre. Don't you miss the old days when video game characters often say random things that was just comedic or amusing? The only game these days that uses open-liners is NBA Jam, and that was a remake. Well, Duke Nukem himself offers some of the most badass quotes that you could find from any character. Observe!
I'm an equal opportunity ass kicker. I ought to break a broom handle off in your ass. Life is like a box of ammo. Now you see me, now you're dead. Hail to the king, baby. It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum. And I'm all out of gum. It's my way or hell, it's my way. Let's rock. Now I'm really pissed off.
Now that is some of the most badass quotes of all time. But get this, John St. John, the guy who provided voice for Duke Nukem, is also the same voice actor who provided voice for Big the Cat. I'm just surprised as all of you guys. I don't know what to say. But moving on, people who played Duke Nukem 3D will always remember him, and today he's gaining more popularity for those who never heard of him, due to the fact that there's so many announcements for a true sequel which was never released in the mainstream. My major problem with every shooter I've played is that the developers lacks in giving the main character any personality and rather focus on being quote-unquote epic. That's my biggest problems with FPSs in general, because the character you're playing is supposed to be you rather than another character. Never was there another character in the whole genre that made me laugh or was ever memorable as Duke Nukem. And since then, the only first-person shooter character that was close enough to even match Duke Nukem's awesomeness is Serious Sam.
You bastards! Come on, you ugly freaks!
I ought to break a broom handle off in your ass.
Come on! I have enough lead for all of you.
Take that, you dirty rat.
Come on, play with me now.
My gun's bigger than yours.
Double your gun, double your fun.
Eat shit and die. I'm gonna get medieval on your asses.
Hey, didn't I kick your ass 2 rooms back?
I go where I please, and I please where I go.
What kind of idiot hero would say something like that?
It's a good day to die.
They always said 2 heads are better than 1. But how does it fart? Owned.
I like big guns, and I cannot lie.
Look at the size of that thing. It ain't the size that matters. It's how you use it. Just what the hell was that anyway?
I could do this all day.
I won't pass by. Let's fight.
I'm not gonna fight you. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Now I'm seriously serious.
Let's rock.
Let's rock.
It's my way or Hell, it's my way.
Lift boy, who's your daddy?
Squeal like a pig.
What are you screaming for? The paint hasn't even started yet.
Stop eyeballing me.
What are you waiting for? A one-liner?
Now I'm really pissed off. There's only 2 ways this can end, and in both of them, you die.
Alright, enough the both of you! Sheesh. Now anyway, it's been a very long time since we've seen Duke Nukem as a first-person shooter. The last game he has ever put out was Duke Nukem Project Manhattan, and that wasn't even a first-person shooter, it was a run-and-gun side-scroller. And since then, there has been announcements after announcements of Duke Nukem Forever. It was first announced in 1997, then they switched engines in 1998, changed everything in 2002, finally showed footages in 2006, and it's been over a decade, and still there is no Duke Nukem Forever because of the issues of owning rights of the Duke Nukem title. And finally, in June 30th, 2010, 3D Realms and Take-Two has settled and dismissed the lawsuit they had with each other, and finally, after over a decade of wait, Duke Nukem Forever is finally going to be released in 2011. And what better way to promote this upcoming game than to do a review on Duke Nukem 3D. But anyway, back on Duke Nukem 3D review. To sum it all up, I really did enjoy Duke Nukem 3D because it was exciting and funny. And to finish everything up, I have to give Duke Nukem 3D a 5 fingers out of 5. Even though it did not redefine FPSs in general, nor was it a revolutionary game, it was more or less like a Doom clone. But it is a very good game. I've been waiting for Duke Nukem for over a decade now, and I'm more than excited to see this in-your-face shooter that I crave for in modern gaming. Till then, this is Duke Nukem saying,
Am I the man, or am I the man?
Wait a minute, you're not Duke Nukem?
It's gear stripping time.
And I thought I saw the last of you.
Oh god, here we go again.
So, who wants to dance?
You bastards! Come on, you
am
ugly
the king
freak!
of the world,
Come on,
baby.
I have
I'm
enough
equal
left.
Stop
opportunity
fighting!
ass
Stop
kicker.
fighting, you
Come
two!
on.
Break
Stop!
a broom handle
Stop!
off in your ass. Work environment sucks.